Cottondale, Texas. The Cottondale Cemetery, established in 1885, and of course the wind is blowing 500 miles an hour every time you shoot outside. Cottondale Cemetery, they got a lot of rules. A lot of them make sense though. But the reason I'm here today at the Cottondale Cemetery is because of a famous grave, that of Machine Gun Kelly. Not this Machine Gun Kelly, this Machine Gun Kelly. So we're going to go in and take a quick look. Born George Kelly Barnes in 1895 in Memphis, Tennessee, George actually had a pretty typical childhood. It wasn't until he enrolled at Mississippi State University to study agriculture in 1917 that things started to turn. Quickly earning a reputation as a poor student, George spent a good deal of his time at Mississippi State working off demerits from faculty. It was also at this time he met and fell in love with Geneva Ramsey and made an abrupt decision to leave school and marry. George couldn't get settled in a regular job, but when Prohibition came to the United States, he worked as a bootlegger. After several run-ins with Memphis police and a divorce from Geneva, George headed west and changed his name to George R. Kelly. It was an arrest in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1928 that led to his first stint in prison, sentenced to 3 years in Leavenworth for smuggling liquor onto an Indian reservation. Known as a model inmate, Kelly earned an early release that, ironically, helped to lead to his permanent undoing. Shortly after leaving Leavenworth, Kelly met and married a career criminal named Catherine Thorne. The newly formed crime couple worked their way up in underground criminal circles, deciding to make their biggest move in July 1933 with the kidnapping of a wealthy Oklahoma City man named Charles Urschel. The Kellys hid Urschel at a farm owned by Catherine's mother and stepfather in Paradise, Texas, demanding a $200,000 ransom for his return. The ransom was paid, and Urschel was released before the end of the month. Despite being blindfolded, Urschel was able to remember sounds and other important details about where he was, helping the FBI determine where he had been held. Eventually, it led to George and Catherine, who were back in Memphis, where they were arrested in September of 1933, and by October were sentenced to life in prison. Machine Gun Kelly spent the remainder of his 21 years of life in prison, 17 of those in Alcatraz, where he was said to tell tall tales of his escapades, and earned the nickname Pop Gun Kelly among prisoners. In 1951, he was transferred back to Leavenworth, where he died of a heart attack in 1954. I'll give you a quick look around the cemetery, and hopefully the wind's not blowing too terribly hard. Small cemetery, of course it's a small town, and looks like some of them are pretty old here. Great view here too. We're kind of up on a little bit of a hill, or at least an incline. But Machine Gun Kelly is at room 11. Let me see if I can make my way there. I've passed by the turnoff to Cottondale many times, and if you watch any of the Riding with James videos where I was coming back from Woodford, anything like that, I probably passed by the turnoff to Cottondale. Never had any reason to come this way. Didn't realize that a famous criminal was buried in Cottondale, and kind of wondered why, as I was quite sure he was not from Texas or anywhere near here, so I had to look up his story. Well, here's row 11. Wonder which is, let's see, it's probably this way, and I guess this is what I'm supposed to walk on. Oh wow. I like seeing stuff like that. But October 1949. I don't know if that's supposed to be October the 1st or if that's something else. It might be a name. 1949 anyway, I guess is when this little walkway was built. I hope that wind's not making this impossible. Well, I don't know. Moorhead. Well, I don't see it anywhere. Maybe it's the other way. Wow. Hey, this is one of those ones that are B.H. Moorhead, Alabama Cavalry, Confederate States of America, died in 1906. Confederate soldier. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover on this part because wouldn't you know, when I got right in front of the grave, right by the marker, the wind just got horrendous, and you can't hear a word I'm saying. This is George Kelly's headstone. Now you may notice there it's pretty faded, but you can see that it's that Kelly is misspelled, K-E-L-L-E-Y, and his name is actually spelled K-E-L-L-Y. And the reason for that is, well, his stepfather actually claimed the body when he died because I guess all of George's other family were gone. Of course, his first wife and his kids probably may not have even realized where he was, or that if they had heard of Machine Gun Kelly, they may not have realized that was even him. But nobody claimed the body, and so he, despite the fact that George played a big part in this and got a whole bunch of people in trouble, including his stepfather, who spent 11 years in prison, he claimed the body and had it buried in a family plot, their family plot there in Cottondale, Texas. He purposely misspelled the last name Kelly, just in case, people wanted to come and damage it, or you know how weird some people can be. They want to take souvenirs, chip off parts, and I guess that was just to turn people away from that, to keep it somewhat private. You can see there that people have left coins and even a shell casing, and you'll see here in a second. I don't know. Hopefully I'm going to get the timing on some of this right. They say it's pretty faded, but you can see the year 1954, which is the year that George Kelly died. Empty shell casing there is kind of odd. Now, a lot of people will think, well, of course, coins, leave coins on a headstone. It's a sign of respect or wishing well, and a lot of people think, well, why would you leave that on the headstone of somebody like Machine Gun Kelly? And well, really, I guess there is I guess if you want to put it this way, the good Christian belief is that you pray for everybody's soul. So no matter how horrible someone was in life, you want their afterlife, that you want them to find peace. So not going to justify the shell casing. That's just kind of odd, but that's the reason for that. But I did look around there, and his father, her Catherine's stepfather, his last name was Shannon. I didn't really see any other. Because I wasn't aware of what the names were at the time. I can't remember if there were any Shannons around there anyway. But yeah, that's anyway. That's why that's why he ended up in Cottondale, Texas, even though he never lived in Cottondale, Texas. I'm really not sure why. I don't know Catherine's stepfather's family history, so maybe he was originally from around there. But that's why George Machine Gun Kelly, who born in Memphis and spent a good deal of time living in Oklahoma, ended up buried in Cottondale, Texas, of all places. Hopefully I got the timing good on that, and maybe I can go back to the regular video now. After after all that, and all the bragging he did at Alcatraz, and he ends up here with a tiny headstone and a misspelled name. I'm going to go ahead and take a look up here. There's an old church, and it looks like they had a sign. There's something about a school up here too. I'll go ahead and take a peek at that. Okay, so we weren't able to get inside, but just thought that was kind of cool. A little over 100 years ago, it was a schoolhouse. Now just a little community chapel next to the cemetery. Well, I hope you found this interesting. Seeing Machine Gun Kelly's grave site and the surroundings. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Not necessarily in that order. And I will see you next time.